Good afternoon. Interesting turn of events lately. I mean, just the weather's just been really weird. It was just a couple weeks ago that it was literally summertime, and we're Central Valley. We're going to an unusual cold front for some reason. So I've actually had to take action to protect some of my more sensitive tropical fruit trees. But I wanted to discuss what I'm doing. I mean, this is literally just today's the last day of October. We normally don't get cold until maybe end of October, end of November, but here we are. Just strange turn of events. In fact, I wanted to say next week, one of the days or a couple of the days is actually forecasted to be in the mid to high 30s, which is unusual for us. But trees, though, I wanted to show you what I'm doing as preparation. Again, from the perspective of the trees, I mean, if you look at this, I mean, it literally was just a few weeks ago that it was just being burnt to death, and now it's being freeze burned. So I wanted to kind of though show you what's happening with some of the tropicals, as well as some of the deciduous trees as they prepare for fall. Well, let me rephrase that. As they prepare for winter, because again, we have like literally 2 weeks of fall. So not a whole lot of preparation time for these trees. But hey, this is the Central Valley. So as you can see, I mean, Lane Jujube, it's I mean, the tree is reabsorbing all the nutrients from the foliage, and of course, that's why it's turning yellow and dropping all these old leaves in preparation for winter. So the trees know that. However, most tropicals, though, don't do that. Tropicals are evergreen. I mean, this Etamoya is going to remain like this basically for the duration of the year. Yeah, same with some of these citrus here. I mean, they're going to be like this for, well, basically all the time. So, so even though this is a jujube, this is the green thornless Indian jujube. I mean, it's this one is not as big, but yeah, these are like the size of an apple. And as you can see, I mean, in addition to fruiting, it's also literally in the process of flowering. So tropical fruit trees don't care. I mean, these trees originate from a climate where it is practically frost-free. So in order for us to get them to grow here in the Central Valley, there are special precautions that you've got to take. I mean, with some of the more sensitive ones. I mean, like everything that you see here that are in the ground. I mean, from my experience, all of these really can take the frost without any issues. As you can see, I mean, I have practically no protection on the top. Um, so one of the preparation that I do, of course, number one is to lower my water usage. I mean, at one point during the middle of the summer, I was watering these trees practically every hour for a couple minutes a watering session. I've since cut that down to just about two watering sessions per day for 3 minutes. So dramatically cut down on the watering, just because again, there's due to the lack of heat. I mean, these trees aren't going to be sweating. So if you don't water, or if you don't cut back on your watering, you more than likely guarantee to kill your tree, or well, it's just not good for the tree. So cut back on your watering. Another thing that I'm doing, which I get a number of questions from, is keeping my trees nice and pruned. So the only times really that I prune my trees is when I feel that it will benefit a tree. I mean, I don't prune it just for the sake of pruning. The only times that I prune a tree is when I feel that it will benefit the tree. So, for example, Gumbachill, in my makeshift greenhouse here, which I'll cover, uh, right now, because it's inside a greenhouse, I don't want it to grow too big, so that's why I prune a tree. Same with the bamboo that you see around us. I mean, we literally took out 5 or 6 different bamboo stalks, as you can see above us. I mean, it's just one that's remaining, because what I want to do is I want the maximum sunlight to penetrate down to the canopy. Whereas during the summertime, I want the bamboo to actually provide shade and more so wind protection against everything that's underneath the canopy of the bamboo. So that's the strategy. You've got to know when to prune your tree. Don't just do it just to keep it kept, if you will. So speaking of which, finally got the time to construct a temporary, this is temporary, heated makeshift greenhouse. This is gonna remain here for a few months, maybe 3-4 months, until it really warms up. But I do have a heater in there, a electric heater now, which kicks in when the temperature drops below. I've got it set to 58 degrees, which is practically bare minimum for some of these. I mean, I've got durians in the ground, I've got rambutans in the ground, so yeah, 58 degrees is slightly above the minimum requirement, but everything seems to be happening there. So I also get some questions about my electric bill, being that, you know, it's practically on the whole night, the heater that is. You know what, since going solar 2 years ago, I've actually stopped paying for electricity. You know, that's one of the benefits. I mean, I'm at any given time, even summertime, I'm sorry, even wintertime, I'm generating way more electricity than the entire house can use. So some of it goes to the heating of the greenhouse. So it's a win-win. So I'm gonna take you to the inside, and I'll kind of show you around. So before showing you the greenhouse, wanted to really cover this. I mean, look at the bamboo that, you know, that we've taken down. I mean, literally, all we have left are just those 3 stalks, which is going to be for next year. But I mean, look at the amount of mulch that we've accumulated just from the chopping down of those bamboo. When you look at this, I mean, that is just a lot of sunlight now just hitting everything underneath there. But I wanted to really cover this papaya really quick. I mean, when you look at this, I mean, this, you would think this is, you know, cold damage, but it's actually not. For a long time, that set of papayas were right in the spot and underneath the jubies there, which essentially gets filtered sun. So the second that I moved them out here in 4-day sun, of course, I mean, the trees get freaked out. So that's why the leaves started stressing out like that. However, I'm just not concerned, just because when you look at the new growth, I mean, it looks fine, looks great. Same with the taller one right there, which in itself is flowering. So yeah, I mean, papayas, you definitely can grow them in containers. Granted, this is like a massive 25-gallon container, but still, yeah. Oh man, just so forget about the fruits. I mean, just grow them for just the beauty. I mean, just look at the new growth on these mangoes. Yeah, something about the new growth, just awesome looking. Even the black sapote, I mean, it's like, it just cries out, telling you to, you know, protect me. So so you know what, if you think tropical fruit trees are fuzzy, oh man, wait till you try you know, naturally, for some reason, I've noticed that people who have tropical fruit trees also have a tendency to also expand to like fish ponds. So these are fancy guppy fishes. Um, yeah, I noticed these guys, these fishes started freaking out when the temperature drops below 60 degrees or so. So that being the case, I actually have a couple of heaters in there that keeps the water nice and warm. I've got it set to 75 degrees consistently. So what that does too, in addition to keeping the fishes happy, is right in this section of the yard, right in the middle of the yard. I mean, and I've been monitoring my zones, but right here where the pond is, because of the added heat that's from the pond, I mean, this section is generally about 5 degrees warmer. I mean, it of course helps too that if you've got a big old mother tree up there, that's providing a nice little microclimate for everything underneath here. So yeah, I mean, just which is really what some of these trees will appreciate. I mean, look at the Kamana lychee here. Yeah, this guy will appreciate the added humidity. But going to the greenhouse though, wanted to show you. So this is my setup here. If you look at it, I mean, there's not much to it. It's just a lot of galvanized pipes with these 90-degree angle joints, and it becomes basically a frame and enclosed in these 9mm painters plastic. So yeah, the setup that I've got here is actually relatively inexpensive, and of course I reuse these year after year, so it's just a one-time investment for me. So here is the setup that I've got in terms of giving them providing them heat. Yeah, I mean, everything in here is nice and happy. In addition to it being nice and warm, it's also quite humid in here as well. So, which is what a lot of these tropicals really would prefer. I mean, just look at the durians there. I mean, yeah, these guys are just a bit too sensitive for a climate, hence the heated greenhouse here. So yeah, this guy is got some new growth down there, and also the guy that's in the ground there in that little makeshift greenhouse in the greenhouse. It's a greenhouseception. But yeah, that's the Guimachil that I've cut down, pruned down heavily. As you can see, I mean, really nothing is gone to waste. I mean, Guimachils, being that they are nitrogen fixing, I mean, that's just pure nitrogen right there in the ground. So yeah, I mean, in here, in addition to like the longans there, everything in here is the more sensitive tropicals. You're talking like the red custard apple here, um, the sugar apple here, of course, uh, the kaimito slash store apple here. Another one here. This one is the purple variety. This one is the green variety. And of course, the Santal. I mean, yeah, Santals. Yeah, these guys will need heavy frost protection. Um, yeah, so that's really basically my setup. Oh, and of course, can't forget the Miley apple, another frost sensitive tree. So yeah. Oh, and I keep forgetting, of course, the rambutan that I'm trying to grow from seed. But yeah, just and also in many ways, see that setup right there. There's a camera in there that allows me to kind of keep an eye on the place, from over the internet, of course. Same with the network sensors there, allows me to keep a nice eye on the humidity and sensor that's humidity and temperature that's in here, making sure that these are all within the tolerances that's required to keep these trees nice and just alive through winter. So again, this is just a really a temporary setup, but you know what? Sometimes you're gonna have to do that for some of these ultra sensitives. But beyond this little section, everything else that's in my yard, regardless if it is in a container or in the ground, I just don't protect. There's just so many that I can't protect. So yeah, anyhow, all right, have a good afternoon.